My people, Oya now, come here. Yes, you, scrolling with your food in hand. Put that spoon down first. And you, pretending to be walking. Your boss is not here. Relax. What I'm about to tell you today will make you check yourself in the mirror twice. This is the story of Cynthia, the Instagram slay queen who thought her beauty gave her the right to destroy other people's confidence. Are you comfortable? Good. Because this story is long, it is sweet, and it will teach you something that even sense sometimes forgets to remind us. Are you ready? Oh yeah, let's enter this matter together. In the heart of Lekki Phase 1, in one of those new estates where the houses look like they came straight from America, there lived a young woman called Cynthia Okafor. Cynthia was what we call in Nigeria a proper babe. 26 years old, tall like a runway model. We're talking 5'10" in her bare feet, slim like those fashion magazine girls with a tiny waist that made men turn their heads twice, and skin so light and glowing that you think she bathed in milk and honey every morning. And you know what? She actually did bathe in milk sometimes. Yes, you heard me right. This girl would buy those big cartons of powdered milk, mix it with her bath water, and soak in it like Cleopatra. She had a whole bathroom routine that took 2 hours every morning. 2 hours! Her Instagram page, at Cynthia the Goddess, had 250,000 followers. Every day she posted pictures. Her in designer clothes, her at expensive restaurants, her with her tiny waist in crop tops, her long legs in short skirts, her smooth skin glowing in the sunlight. And under every picture, the comments would pour in, "Queen of beauty, body goals, I wish I looked like you, you are perfect." Cynthia would read these comments and smile. Not a humble smile, the kind of smile that says, yes, I know I'm all that and more. But there was one small problem with Cynthia. Actually, it was a big problem disguised as confidence. You see, Cynthia didn't just love herself. She used her beauty as a weapon to destroy other people, especially other women. And her favorite target, her next door neighbor, Mrs. Ngozi Adebayo. Now, let me tell you about Ngozi. Ngozi was a 32-year-old woman, married with 2 children, a 5-year-old boy named Chidi, and a 3-year-old girl named Amara. Ngozi was what we call in Nigeria a full-bodied woman. She wasn't slim like Cynthia. She had big hips, thick thighs, a round belly from carrying 2 children, and arms that showed she enjoyed her food, which we call Christian mother arm. Ngozi was dark-skinned too. Not light-skinned like Cynthia. Her skin was a beautiful dark brown, the color of roasted coffee beans. But in this bleaching crazy Lagos where everyone wants to be yellow, Ngozi's dark skin made her a target. And Cynthia tormented this woman every single day. Every single day. It started small. The first time they met was when Ngozi moved into the estate with her family. She was carrying boxes from the moving truck, sweating under the hot Lagos sun, her wrapper tied around her chest, her face shiny with effort. Cynthia was coming back from the gym, all made up, tight gym wear showing her flat stomach, her ponytail swinging like a horse's tail. "Good morning," Ngozi greeted with a warm smile, even though she was tired. Cynthia looked at her up and down, slowly, deliberately, like she was inspecting spoilt meat at the market. Then she wrinkled her nose. Was all she said, and walked past. Ngozi stood there confused. What kind of greeting was But that was just the beginning. The next morning, Ngozi was sweeping her compound. She was wearing a simple house dress, her natural hair packed in a puff, no makeup, just a woman doing her morning chores. Cynthia came out of her house looking like she was going for a photo shoot. Full makeup, waist trainer underneath her outfit, heels that could kill a person. "Auntie, good morning, oh," Ngozi greeted, again trying to be friendly. Cynthia stopped and looked at her. "Auntie?" She laughed. A mean laugh. "Please, oh, I'm not your auntie. I'm 26. How old are you? You look like you are 45. Ngozi's face froze. 32? 32? Cynthia's eyes widened in fake shock. But you look so tired, so old. Is it the marriage that is stressing you, or the children? Or maybe it's all that weight you are carrying. They say stress makes you age faster, and extra weight too. Before Ngozi could respond, Cynthia had already gotten into her white Mercedes Benz and driven off. Ngozi stood there, broom in hand, feeling like someone had slapped her. But Cynthia was just warming up. The next week, Ngozi's husband, Mr. Adebayo, was washing his car in the compound. He was a good man, a loving father, and he adored his wife exactly as she was. Cynthia came out in her usual fashion. Today, it was a tiny crop top and high-waisted jeans that showed her flat stomach and tiny waist. "Good morning, Mr. Man," she greeted with a flirty smile. "Morning," Mr. Adebayo replied politely, focused on his car. Cynthia said, leaning against her car in a pose, "I always wonder what makes men marry certain types of women. Like, with all the fine girls in Lagos, all the slim, beautiful, light-skinned babes out there, what makes a good-looking man settle for, well, She gestured towards Ngozi's house with her manicured nails. Mr. Adebayo stopped washing and looked at her. "Excuse me?" "I'm just saying," Cynthia continued, examining her nails like she was discussing the weather. "I would want a woman who takes care of herself. Someone who goes to the gym, who watches her weight, who knows how to look good. Not someone who has let herself go like that. But maybe you didn't have options, or maybe you got trapped with pregnancy. It happens to the best of men." Mr. Adebayo dropped his sponge and looked at her. "Young lady, I don't know what kind of home training you received, but the woman you are insulting is my wife, the mother of my children, and the love of my life. She is beautiful inside and out, and I will not tolerate you disrespecting her. If you have issues with your own life, deal with them, but leave my family alone." Cynthia's eyes widened. Nobody had ever talked to her like that before. She was so used to people, especially men, worshipping her beauty that she didn't know what to say. I was just joking," she stammered. "It wasn't funny," Mr. Adebayo said coldly. "Stay away from my wife." He gathered his things and went inside. Cynthia stood there, embarrassed for the first time. But instead of feeling sorry or learning a lesson, she became angry. Angry that this man had defended his fat, dark wife instead of appreciating her beauty. From that day, Cynthia's attacks became more vicious. When she saw Ngozi watering her plants, she would say loud enough for Ngozi to hear, "Imagine using all that water on plants when you should be using it to drink more and eat less. But I guess some people don't have self-control." When Ngozi wore a nice dress to church, Cynthia would post on Instagram, "Some people think wearing nice clothes can hide what is underneath. Sis, we can still see the rolls. Go to the gym before you go to the boutique. #no shade, just truth. Body goals, not for everybody." Everyone knew she was talking about Ngozi. When Ngozi's children were playing outside, happy and laughing, Cynthia would make comments. "Those poor kids, they're going to grow up with body image issues because of their mother's example. Sad." The whole estate began to notice. Some people felt sorry for Ngozi. Others shamefully joined in, because that's what people do when they see someone being bullied by someone popular. They join in to feel included. There was one woman in the estate, Mrs. Folake, who even stopped greeting Ngozi because Cynthia had convinced her that associating with people who don't take care of themselves brings down your own value. Ngozi became withdrawn. She stopped going out except when necessary. She stopped wearing nice clothes, thinking, "What's the point? Cynthia would just mock me." She stopped going to estate meetings. She stopped attending the women's fellowship at church. Her husband noticed. "Ngozi, what's wrong? You've changed." "Nothing," she would say, forcing a smile. But there was something wrong. Every day, every single day, Cynthia's words echoed in her head. Fat, dark, old, ugly, let yourself go, no standards. Ngozi started skipping meals, thinking, maybe if I lose weight, Cynthia will stop. But it didn't work, because you can't starve away someone else's cruelty. She bought skin lightening cream, spending money her family couldn't afford, hoping that if she became lighter, Cynthia would leave her alone. But she just ended up with rashes and her skin became patchy. One Sunday after church, as Ngozi was walking to her car with her family, Cynthia pulled up beside her in her Mercedes-Benz. Today, Cynthia was wearing a stunning white dress that showed off her figure. Her makeup was flawless, her hair was freshly done in long braids that probably cost 100,000 naira. She rolled down her window and called out, "Ngozi." Ngozi stopped, her heart already sinking. "I just wanted to say," she began, speaking loud enough for other church members to hear, "that I've been praying for you. I've been praying that God will give you the discipline to lose weight and take care of yourself. Because honestly, the way you look, it's not honoring the temple of God. Your body is a temple and yours is looking like an abandoned building. But don't worry, there's hope for everyone, even you." She smiled sweetly, like she had just given Ngozi a compliment, then drove off. Ngozi stood there in the church parking lot in her Sunday best, feeling more naked and exposed than if she had been standing there without clothes. Other church members looked away, embarrassed for her, but not willing to defend her. That evening, Ngozi locked herself in her bedroom and cried until she couldn't cry anymore. She looked at herself in the mirror and hated what she saw. "God," she prayed through her tears, "why did you make me like this? Why did you make me dark? Why did you make me big? Why couldn't I be beautiful like Cynthia?" Now, my people, this is where the story takes a turn. Because that prayer, God heard it, but not in the way Ngozi expected. And Cynthia was about to learn a lesson that no Instagram filter could fix. That evening, Ngozi couldn't take it anymore. She left the house, told her husband she needed some air, and just started walking. She didn't know where she was going. She just needed to be away from the mirror, away from her thoughts, away from the pain. She found herself at a small park at the edge of the estate, sitting on a bench, crying quietly in the darkness. "My daughter, why are you crying?" Ngozi looked up, startled. An old woman was standing there, very old, with skin like crumpled brown paper and eyes that seemed to see right through you. She was wearing a simple wrapper and headscarf, carrying a walking stick. Ngozi didn't know where this woman came from. She hadn't heard anyone approaching, but something about the old woman's voice was comforting, like a grandmother's voice. "It's nothing, ma," Ngozi said, wiping her tears. "Nothing doesn't make a grown woman cry like this in the dark," the old woman said, sitting down beside her without invitation. "Talk to me, my daughter. What is troubling your heart?" And Ngozi, who had been holding everything inside for months, broke down. She told the old woman everything. About Cynthia, about the daily mockery, about the body shaming, about feeling ugly, about the lightening creams, about skipping meals, about her children seeing her cry. The old woman listened quietly, nodding occasionally, her ancient eyes full of understanding. When Ngozi finished, the old woman was quiet for a long moment. Then she said, "This girl who is tormenting you, has she ever known suffering? Has she ever felt what you feel?" "No, ma," Ngozi said. "She's beautiful. Everyone worships her. She doesn't know what it's like to be like me." The old woman nodded slowly. "Then she has never learnt the most important lesson, that we are all the same underneath, that beauty is not a gift to lord over others, but a responsibility to use for good." She stood up, leaning on her walking stick. "Don't cry anymore, my daughter," she said with a mysterious smile. "Sometimes the only way people learn is by walking in the shoes of those they've hurt. Go home, rest, and watch what happens." "Watch what happens?" Ngozi asked, confused. Was she imagining it? Was she going crazy? She went home confused, but somehow lighter, like something was about to shift. The next morning, Monday morning, Cynthia woke up at 5:30 a.m. as usual for her morning routine. She had a busy day ahead, a photo shoot at noon, lunch with a potential sponsor at 2 p.m., and a party in the evening. She dragged herself to the bathroom, still half asleep, ready to start her 2-hour beauty routine. She turned on the light. She looked in the mirror and screamed. Screamed. My people, when I say she screamed, I mean she screamed so loud that dogs started barking 3 streets away. Security guards thought there was a robbery. Neighbors came out of their houses in confusion, because the face staring back at Cynthia from the mirror was not her face. It was like Ngozi's face. Dark skin, Not her carefully maintained light complexion, but Ngozi's beautiful dark brown skin. Full cheeks, not her sculpted cheekbones, but like Ngozi's round, full face. And her body. Chey! Her body was no longer the slim, tiny waisted figure she had spent years maintaining. It was like Ngozi's body. Full hips, thick thighs, round stomach, heavy arms. Cynthia touched her face, her arms, her stomach. It was all real, all flesh, all Ngozi. No, she screamed, stepping back from the mirror like it was possessed. She ran back to her bed, thinking she was still dreaming. She pinched herself hard. It hurt. She wasn't dreaming. She ran back to the mirror. Ngozi's face was still staring back at her. What is happening? What is happening? She grabbed her phone to call who? The police? A doctor? A pastor? What do you even call for something like this? But when she looked at her phone, there was a message on her screen. Not from WhatsApp or SMS, just there. Glowing letters. You wanted to know what it's like to live in the body you've been mocking. Now you will know. This will last until you learn what you need to learn. Cynthia's hands shook so hard she dropped the phone. She collapsed on the bathroom floor and started crying. Not pretty crying like in movies, ugly crying. The kind of crying that comes with snot and gasping for air. After an hour of panic, she tried to think rationally. Okay, maybe it was just her eyes. Maybe she needed to see a doctor. Maybe it was a mental breakdown. She got dressed, but wait, her clothes didn't fit. Her tiny jeans couldn't even pull past her new thick thighs. Her crop tops, forget it. They couldn't even cover half of her new round stomach. Her bras, they were too small for her new fuller chest. She stood in her wardrobe full of expensive designer clothes, thousands of dollars worth of fashion, and nothing fit her new body. She ended up wearing one of her oversized t-shirts, the kind she wore to bed, and a loose pair of joggers. She looked in the mirror again and wanted to cry. This was exactly the kind of letting yourself go look she had mocked Ngozi for. But she had to go out. She had that photo shoot, her sponsor lunch. She couldn't just hide. She put on makeup, trying to make this face look more like her face. But you can't contour away someone else's entire facial structure. When she was done, she just looked like Ngozi wearing too much makeup. She took a deep breath and decided to step outside, tears streaming down her face, wearing her stained t-shirt and torn joggers. The moment she walked to her gate, she saw Mr. Johnson, one of her neighbors who always greeted her with a big smile and lingering stare. He was the kind of man who would literally stop what he was doing to watch Cynthia walk by. "Good morning, Mr. Johnson," she said, in her same voice, because her voice hadn't changed, only her appearance. Mr. Johnson looked at her briefly, nodded politely, "Morning," and kept walking. No big smile, no stare, no stopping to make small talk. Cynthia stood there shocked. Just yesterday, this man would have stopped to chat for 10 minutes, complimenting her outfit, her hair, her everything. Today, just morning, like she was invisible. She walked to her car, and that's when she saw Ngozi watering her plants next door. Ngozi looked up and saw herself. No, wait, she saw someone who looked exactly like her coming out of Cynthia's house. Both women froze, staring at each other. Cynthia wanted to run back inside. She wanted to hide. She wanted to explain. But what could she say? Ngozi spoke first. "Cynthia?" "Yes," Cynthia whispered, her voice shaking. What happened to you?" "I don't know," Cynthia sobbed. "I woke up like this. My clothes don't fit. Nothing fits. I look like..." She couldn't finish. Ngozi should have laughed, should have said, "Now you know how it feels." But when she saw Cynthia standing there, looking exactly like her, crying, in distress, something in her heart softened. Because Ngozi knew that pain. "Come inside," Ngozi said gently, opening her gate. "No, I can't. I'm too ashamed." "Come inside, please." Cynthia followed her in. Ngozi got her water,
"I'm sorry," Cynthia blurted out. "I'm so sorry for everything I said to you, for everything I did. I was wicked. I was cruel." Ngozi nodded quietly, letting her speak. "And now look at me. I look exactly like you and I can't stand it. And that makes me even more horrible because..." She stopped, realizing what she was saying. "I'm sorry," she whispered. Ngozi stood up. "Wait here." She disappeared into her bedroom and came back carrying clothes, a nice Ankara dress and a wrapper. "Here," she said. "These will fit you now. Take them." Cynthia stared, shocked. You're giving me your clothes after everything I did to you?" "You need them," Ngozi said simply. "Your clothes don't fit anymore. Mine will." "But why? Why are you being nice to me?" "Because I know how it feels," Ngozi said quietly. "I know how it feels to have nothing fit, to hate what you see in the mirror. And I wouldn't wish that on anyone, not even you." Those words hit Cynthia like a thunderbolt. Cynthia left wearing Ngozi's dress, feeling more grateful than she had ever felt in her life. But the day was just beginning, and Cynthia was about to experience everything she had made Ngozi feel, multiplied by 100. She drove to the photo shoot location, a fancy studio in Victoria Island. She was supposed to be modeling new fitness wear for a sports brand. When she walked in, the photographer looked at her confused. "I'm sorry, who are you?" "I'm Cynthia Okafor. I have a shoot scheduled." He checked his list. "Cynthia Okafor is on the list, but this must be a mistake. We booked Cynthia for her specific look, slim, tall, light-skinned, for fitness wear. You're not the right fit for this campaign." "But I am Cynthia." "Ma'am, I don't know what's going on, but I can't use you for this shoot. Please leave." She was thrown out, literally escorted out by security because they thought she was a scammer pretending to be Cynthia. The lunch meeting was worse. She arrived at the restaurant, a high-end place in Ikoyi, where she had met many sponsors before. She walked in and the hostess looked at her with the kind of look Cynthia used to give to people she considered beneath her. "Can I help you?" she asked in a tone that really meant, "Are you sure you can afford to eat here?" "I have a reservation, Cynthia Okafor, 2 p.m. with Mr. Richards." The hostess checked her list, then looked at Cynthia with suspicion. "Mr. Richards is here, but he's expecting someone else." "I am that someone else." "Ma'am, please don't make a scene. Mr. Richards is here to meet with an influencer. You're not what we were expecting." Just then, Mr. Richards himself came to see what the commotion was about. He was a middle-aged white man, the CEO of a beauty brand that wanted Cynthia as their ambassador. "What's going on?" he asked. "Sir, I'm Cynthia Okafor. We have a meeting." Mr. Richards looked at her confused. "Cynthia Okafor, the Instagram model?" "Yes." He pulled out his phone and showed her a picture, one of Cynthia's Instagram photos showing her old hair, slim, light-skinned, tiny waist. "This is Cynthia Okafor. You are clearly not her. Now please leave before I call security." "But I am her. Something happened to me. Please just look at my ID." She pulled out her driver's license. Her name was on it, but the picture showed her old face. Mr. Richards looked at the license, looked at her, and his expression changed from confusion to disgust. "I don't know what kind of scam you're trying to pull, but we're done here. Security." 2 security guards came and forcibly removed Cynthia from the restaurant, while other diners watched and whispered. She sat in her car in the parking lot and cried. For the first time in her life, Cynthia understood what it felt like to be rejected, judged, and dismissed because of how you look. But the universe wasn't done teaching her yet. That evening, she decided to go to the party she was invited to, a birthday celebration for one of Lagos's socialites. Maybe she thought her friends would recognize her. Maybe they would understand. She wore the best outfit she could find that actually fit, a simple dress that she just bought. She arrived at the venue, a luxury hotel in Victoria Island. At the entrance, the bouncer stopped her. "Invitation?" She showed it on her phone, an electronic invitation sent to @Cynthia the Goddess. The bouncer looked at her invitation, looked at her and laughed. "Nice try. Next time, don't steal someone else's invitation." "What? This is my invitation." Look, lady, Cynthia Okafor is a slim, light-skinned mother. You are not that. Now move along before I have to have you removed. But move. She was turned away from a party that was partly thrown in her honor. People she called friends were inside, probably wondering where she was, while she stood outside being treated like she was nobody. She drove home, sobbing so hard she could barely see the road. For the next 3 days, Cynthia lived in nightmare. Her Instagram followers started unfollowing her because she hadn't posted any new pictures. She couldn't, not looking like this. Brand deals were cancelled because she breached contract by not showing up for commitments. Except she had shown up. They just didn't believe she was her. Her friends, those girls who were always in her comments, worshipping her, stopped calling. When she tried to meet them, they made excuses. One of them saw her at the mall and literally pretended not to know her. Everywhere she went, people treated her with the same dismissive contempt she had shown Ngozi. At the supermarket, the cashier asked if she could afford the organic products in her basket. At the hair salon, they told her they were fully booked even though she could see empty chairs. At the gym she had been a member of for 3 years, the receptionist said, "I'm sorry, this is a premium gym. Maybe try one of the more affordable options." Men who used to fall over themselves to talk to her now walked past her like she was invisible. Or worse, looked at her with the same disgust she used to show to women like Ngozi. On the 4th day, Cynthia couldn't take it anymore. She went back to Ngozi's house and knocked on the door. Ngozi opened it, surprised to see her. "Please," Cynthia begged. "Please help me. I don't know what to do. I don't know how to fix this." Ngozi let her in and made her tea. They sat in Ngozi's simple, cozy living room, the kind of home Cynthia used to mock as basic. "How do you do it?" Cynthia asked. "How do you live like this? How do you handle people treating you like you are nothing just because of how you look?" Ngozi was quiet for a long moment. Then she said, "You learn that your worth is not in how you look. You learn that beauty is in how you treat people, how you love, how you show up for your family, how you make people feel. You learn that the opinions of people who only care about the surface don't matter." "But it's so hard," Cynthia whispered. "I never realized how hard it was. The stares, the comments, the rejection, the way people make you feel less than human." "Now you know," Ngozi said gently. "Now you know what you've been doing to me for months." Cynthia broke down completely. "I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I was wicked. I was cruel. I used my appearance to hurt people because I thought it made me powerful, but it just made me a monster." She cried until she couldn't cry anymore, and Ngozi just sat there with her, not gloating, not saying "I told you so," just being present. "What do I do?" Cynthia finally asked. "How do I fix this?" "The message you got said you'll stay like this until you learn what you need to learn," Ngozi said. "So maybe you need to figure out what that lesson is." For the next 2 weeks, Cynthia lived as Ngozi. She went to the market and experienced vendors charging her more because you look like you can't afford to shop anywhere better. She went to church and sat in the back because she felt too self-conscious to sit in front like she used to. She posted on Instagram, not pictures of herself because she couldn't, but words, apologies, confessions. She wrote, "I've spent years thinking my beauty made me better than other people. I've used my appearance as a weapon to hurt women who didn't look like me. I body shamed, colorism shamed, and bullied people for not fitting into my narrow definition of beauty. And now I'm experiencing everything I made others feel. I'm sorry. I'm deeply, truly sorry." The post went viral, but not in a good way. People who had been her followers, her fans, her supporters turned on her. "Karma is real. Finally, someone exposed you. You deserve everything you're going through. Stay ugly forever." The cruelty she had shown to others was now being returned to her 100-fold. But there was one comment that stood out, from an account she didn't recognize.
Maybe the lesson isn't just to apologize. Maybe the lesson is to change who you are inside. That comment haunted her. One afternoon, Cynthia was at the market buying vegetables, something she never used to do. She always had them delivered. A woman at the next stall was being mocked by a group of young girls. "Auntie, see your big stomach. Why you no go gym? See as your skin dark like charcoal." The woman was trying to ignore them, but Cynthia could see tears forming in her eyes. And something inside Cynthia snapped. She walked over to those girls and my people. The old Cynthia would have joined in their mockery or walked away. But the new Cynthia, who had spent weeks experiencing that same mockery, couldn't stay silent. "Hey," she called out firmly. "What's wrong with you girls?" The girls looked at her, surprised. "Why are you mocking this woman? What did she do to you?" "We're just playing," said one girl defensively. "Playing? You think it's a game to make someone cry? To make someone hate themselves? To make someone feel worthless because of how they look?" The girl shifted uncomfortably. "This woman," Cynthia continued, pointing to the woman they had been mocking. "She woke up today, she came to work, she's trying to make a living, and you decided to make her day miserable. For what? For fun? For laughs?" She stepped closer to the girls, her voice getting stronger. "Let me tell you something. Beauty fades, bodies change, skin gets old. But you know what lasts? The way you treat people, the kindness you show, the love you give. And right now, you girls are ugly. Not on the outside, on the inside. And that kind of ugliness doesn't wash off." The girls looked ashamed. One of them mumbled, "Sorry, ma," to the woman, and they walked away quickly. The woman Cynthia had defended looked at her with tears in her eyes. "Thank you," she whispered. "No," Cynthia said, feeling tears forming in her own eyes. "Thank you. You helped me remember who I should be." That night, Cynthia couldn't sleep. She kept thinking about that moment, about how good it felt to defend someone instead of attacking them, about how right it felt to use her voice for kindness instead of cruelty. She got out of bed and went to her mirror, the same mirror where this whole thing had started. She looked at herself, at Ngozi's face, Ngozi's body, Ngozi's skin, and for the first time, she didn't see ugliness. She saw a woman, a whole human being, someone's wife, someone's mother, someone who deserved respect and kindness and dignity. "I'm sorry," she said to her reflection. But she wasn't just talking to herself. She was talking to Ngozi, to every woman she had mocked, to every person she had made feel less than. "I'm sorry for measuring people's worth by how they look. I'm sorry for thinking beauty gave me the right to be cruel. I'm sorry for using my appearance as a weapon. I'm sorry for forgetting that we're all human, we're all valuable, we all deserve kindness." She took a deep breath. "I don't know if I'll ever look like me again, but if I do, I promise, I will never use my appearance to hurt anyone again. I will use whatever privilege I have to defend people, not attack them. I will be kind. I will be humble. I will remember this lesson forever." She went to bed that night feeling lighter than she had felt in weeks. The next morning, she woke up at 5:30 a.m. as usual. She dragged herself to the bathroom, turned on the light, and looked in the mirror, and gasped. Her face was back. Her body was back. Her light skin, her slim figure, her sculpted features, everything was back to how it used to be. But Cynthia didn't scream with joy. She didn't immediately run to take selfies. She didn't think, "Finally, I'm beautiful again." Instead, she looked at herself and thought, "I'm the same on the outside, but I'm different on the inside, and that's what matters." She got dressed, not in her usual crop tops and tiny outfits, but in a simple, modest dress. She did her makeup, but lighter than before. She looked in the mirror one more time and smiled. A real smile, not the arrogant one from before. Then she went next door to Ngozi's house and knocked. When Ngozi opened the door, she was shocked. "Cynthia, you're back to yourself?" "Yes," Cynthia said, "but I came to say thank you. Thank you for showing me who I should be. Thank you for being kind to me when I had been cruel to you. Thank you for teaching me that beauty is more than skin deep.
Ngozi's eyes filled with tears. And I want to ask for your forgiveness, Cynthia continued, properly, for everything I said, everything I did, every way I made you feel less than the beautiful, valuable woman you are. I was wrong. I was wicked, and I'm truly, deeply sorry. Ngozi hugged her, a real hug, and said, I forgive you. From that day forward, Cynthia's entire life changed. She still posted on Instagram, but her content was different. Instead of just pretty pictures, she posted messages about body positivity, about treating people with kindness, about inner beauty. She used her platform, her followers, to call out body shaming, colorism, and bullying. When brands approached her for deals, she asked, do you celebrate diverse beauty? Do you feature women of all sizes and colors? If they said no, she turned them down. She started a campaign called Beauty in Everybody and featured women like Ngozi, real women with real bodies, dark skin, light skin, slim bodies, full bodies, all kinds of beauty. And Ngozi, she became one of Cynthia's closest friends. They would have coffee together, and Ngozi even appeared in some of Cynthia's posts, telling her story of being bullied and finding strength. The estate that had once watched Cynthia torment Ngozi now watched them laugh together, support each other, and show what real friendship looks like. One day, about 6 months later, Cynthia saw a young girl at the mall mocking another girl for being too fat. The old Cynthia would have walked past or even smiled, but the new Cynthia stopped, bent down to the girl's level, and said gently, you know what makes someone truly beautiful? A kind heart. And right now, your heart isn't being very kind. Do you want to try again? The girl thought about it, then turned to the other girl and said, I'm sorry, you're actually really pretty. Cynthia smiled and continued shopping, feeling proud, not about her appearance, but of who she was becoming. My people, what did we learn from this story? First, your appearance, whether you're slim or full, light or dark, tall or short, does not give you the right to treat other people badly. Beauty is not a license to be cruel. Second, the way we treat people reveals more about us than it does about them. When Cynthia was mocking Ngozi, she wasn't exposing Ngozi's flaws, she was exposing her own ugly heart. Third, we never truly understand someone's pain until we walk in their shoes, or in this case, live in their body. Empathy isn't just feeling sorry for someone, it's understanding their experience. Fourth, real beauty radiates from how you treat people, not from how you look.
Ngozi was always beautiful. Her kindness, her strength, her dignity in the face of cruelty. Cynthia was always ugly until she learned to be kind. And finally, it's never too late to change. Cynthia could have stayed bitter and angry when she was transformed. Instead, she chose to learn, to grow, and to become better. That's real transformation. Now tell me, my people, have you ever been body shamed or made to feel less than because of your appearance? How did you handle it? And be honest, have you ever judged someone harshly because of how they look? What made you stop? If you could say one thing to someone who's being bullied for their appearance, what would it be? Drop your stories in the comments. Let's have this conversation because I know many of you have experienced this. If this story made you laugh, made you think, or touched your heart, hit that like button. If you learned something valuable today, share this story with someone who needs to hear it. And if you want more stories that teach real life lessons, subscribe to this channel and turn on notifications. Until next time, my people, remember, your worth is not in your waist size, your skin color, or your Instagram followers. Your worth is in your character, your kindness, and your humanity. Treat people with dignity, no matter how they look. Because Karma is not just real, she's creative. My people, this is your girl Tales by Jasmine, and I will see you in the next story. Take care of yourselves and take care of each other.